really? Never had that problem before. So I am fixing it right now. If I can just get into the right part of Microsoft, that will let me fix this. So I'm working on it. Because Microsoft doesn't like to make it easy for you to do this stuff.
Right, of course not.
Oh God, yeah, that would be ridiculous, right?
Well, if you want, I can read what I wrote about the sour orange blossom mead that we tried, which I had on January 26th.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Okay, I found it was very, very nice with a very definite orange blossom in the nose, which I found quite pleasant. And there's a flavor that a lot of dry meads give me that I don't really like, but this did not have it despite being a fairly dry mead. And sour is not really my thing, but it's not overpowering at all. And it left this mead with a very decent mouthfeel, and the carbonation fits this better than I think it fit the straight orange blossom, which I had tried the week before. It leaves a really nice taste and texture after swallowing, and even though sour stuff's not really my thing, I found it was really, really different and quite drinkable, and I very much liked it. So that's my extent of time wasting for letting Vicky get stuff back together.
Yeah, well, since Microsoft decided in its infinite wisdom to cut off all my minutes, and then dumped everybody. So now I think I have enough minutes. So, all right, Blair, everybody, we're going to try to call you guys back here real quick. And let's try that one more time.
All right, so more things to know. Microsoft hates us.
Yeah. Well, Microsoft hates everybody, so that's.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry about that. Microsoft, in its infinite wisdom, decided I was out of minutes. I'm like, right? No, I pay for minutes. What the hell? So, yeah. Sorry about that. I'm going to call Chris now. So, get him back in here. I couldn't believe that. I was like, seriously? And all of a sudden popped up and said, you have 3 minutes left. I'm like, excuse me? But I'd forgotten Microsoft bought Skype, and so I had like unlimited minutes on Skype, but apparently when they merged, the rules changed, and I hadn't been doing enough minutes on it for it to affect me, and apparently, this is what happens when you, don't pay attention to these things. So I'm calling Chris right now. Poor Chris probably talking like, why aren't they talking back to me? Chris?
I'm here.
Hi, sorry, it's not that we don't love you, it's that Microsoft doesn't love you. They cut me off. Yeah, it popped up a message and said, you have 2 minutes left. You have 1 minute left. Then it dropped everybody but me and AJ. God knows why. So I had to go and frantically go in and spend money on Microsoft and get this thing taken care of. So you're back, and I'm sorry, and please pick up where you left off on telling us, what's going on with the sour mead. Everybody wants to know as many details as you're willing to give them. And for those of you out there, if you're still listening after all the hoorah that we've had, please feel free to call in and ask questions. So we'll do that.
Where did you leave off, Vicky?
I think we lost you we were starting to get into yeast and how all this kind of got started.
Yeah, the last notes that I had was you were talking about the batch that you
I'm getting blaring.
really overpitched, and then you got it down to 5.5 bricks before you started having pH issues, and then you buffered it and it picked up a little bit, but not as much as you'd thought. And then I think that's about where we got cut off.
I love it.
Cool.
The short and fast version. I'm waiting for Blair to pick up, but keep going.
This Blair.
So, hey, Blair's there. Hey,
Blair's there. Yeah, sorry about that. Blame
Okay.
Microsoft, just saying. We can't blame Canada because we got AJ on the call. So,
So Chris, we roused that sour and buffered it with calcium carbonate, and then how was the fermentation curve after that move?
What was that, Frank?
we roused it and we added calcium carbonate, and then what happened to the fermentation curve?
Not a whole lot. It's still kind of, I don't know. We only saw about a bricks and drop over the course of the next week. So it never really picked back up again to full strength. One of the things as we compared that arc, I think for one of the next batches, same process, pitching the lacto right at the start would be to buffer with our third staggered nutrient addition, because that seemed to be the part where, or the time frame where the pH really started to drop quickly.
Right. And so the next step for us on trying to perfect the sour process is a 3-part test, right? We're going to do pitch with staff ale or with the yeast and buffer up front, right? Pitch with nutrient addition number 3 with the buffer, and then pitch the lacto at a different rate. Is that accurate? What am I missing there? I feel like I'm missing something there. No, that's accurate? Okay. And what was the rate that we were talking with Dr. Fall about? At a lower rate, right? We wanted to give staff ale a better opportunity to thrive and kind of outcompete the lacto by starting with way less lacto, but pitching it up front. Because I think from a process standpoint, trying to pitch them at the same time is a bit more scalable, a bit more approachable. But if we have to pitch it later on, we're open to that. It's just that it seems like you're introducing a whole slew of variables that would be nice to control out of the process. If we can make an awesome and delicious sour mead.
So the pitch recommendation from Dr. Fowl was 100 milliliters per 20 liters. So that's where we're kind of starting and carrying on from.
Per 20 liters, yeah. So for a 5-gallon batch, like 100 milliliter vial.
I'm sorry. Was that did that come through? I thought I muted.
Nope.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I took a drink of my tea and nearly died. Sorry. Muting now. Oh God, I'm so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been trying to pitch it at the same time and control all the variables, but you're open to pitching the lacto separately from the SFL yeast, right? That's what's going on before Vicky tried to kill herself.
Yeah. Exactly. And then also buffer timing is a question, so we're going to look at doing it about 3 days in. And that was advice from Shea Comfort, the yeast whisperer, who is a fermentation consultant. And he's helping us with kind of our core meads, but we kind of brought up the sour piece, and he was like, oh, yeah, just add the buffer at the drop, and then the drop won't happen, and your yeast will be happy. But his knowledge is deep and wide, and if anyone wants to talk like magical mead making, he's a great resource, and can really help out with a lot of cutting edge mead making technique.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So now what you're doing right now is you're pitching a lot of the yeast and not as much of the lactose, so you're trying to give the yeast a head start?
That's one of the 3 trials, right? So
one of the 3.
Same amount of lacto with buffer up front, same amount of lacto later on with buffer, and then half amount of lacto up front with buffer.
Okay.
And see how they all turn out.
All right, so these ones haven't actually started in the testing yet?
Correct. We're focusing on refining some changes to our core products that we hope will carry over to the sours. Like when core products are even more awesome than the sours, with the sour layer on top will be magical.
Yeah, it's certainly a very interesting drink.
Thanks, EJ.
Yeah, I really liked it when we did the tasting, when we had you on the first time. I was stunned. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what to expect exactly, but I kind of had it in my head that it wasn't going to be as good as it was. You know? I don't know why, but just in my head I was like, well, this will probably be okay mead, but it was like a stunning mead. It really was quite good. Yeah. At
the Davis course, the advanced mead making course, they talked a lot about lactobacillus, and it is a diverse range of off flavors that lacto can make, and they're not all desirable. Like the desirable yogurty tartness is just one of many variations, and there are lactos that create that kind of corn chippy funk that we've had in some of our sour meads that some folks rave for, but for me is always a little weird. We made a batch of sour and we called it Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster.
Did it hit you? Did it hit you like a lemon wrapped around a gold brick?
A gold brick. Yeah,
we're a bunch of damn geeks, I tell you. So you guys have had kind of a lot of side trails in this pursuit of the perfect sour meads.
But we've had some that have been so phenomenal that we feel compelled to continue the journey.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, I mean, have you perfected it now? I mean, have you got it nailed so that you know you're going to get a good one, or is it still adventures in mead making every time you do a batch?
I think this lacto has really given us a baseline to work with, because even if it's like not an optimal fermentation, the product is tasty. So now it's like, okay, great. How do we achieve those end states we're kind of looking for when we look at a recipe that's scalable? And to me, that's like getting it below 1 Brix. Though we'd like to even rule that out and get it down to like minimal Brix, like 0.10 if possible. We want to know that it's going to be relatively stable in the bottle and it's not going to evolve into something we're not going to like. So that's a whole nother kind of realm of trials.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Open it up and get, what was it you said earlier it kind of struck me as funny. The flavors. Corn chip. Yeah, so you get Frito-Lay sour mead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I one I ever had was diesel.
Diesel? Ew.
Yeah, it doesn't taste bad, but it smells like diesel. And if you shake the crap out of it and use a vacuum vent pump or something like that, it tastes fine. But when you first open the bottle, it smells like diesel.
You talked about that one before, yeah.
I don't know what the heck it is, and I had 2 batches do it.
Weird.
Was that a lacto?
Not on purpose. If it was completely accidental, and I had 2 batches that were prepared. I started them on the same day, but they were even made with different yeasts, and both of them, one of them was a lime mel, and the other one was a red currant wine. And they both went diesely in the bottle, and if you shake the stink off, then they're fine, but it's very weird. And I've heard that that citrus can do some weird phenol things, and with the lime, it's sort of made sense. It's like something gone a little bit off in the aroma, but it made absolutely no sense with the red currant, because I mean, I've made that dozens of times. I've never had that happen before.
Wow.
Maybe not dozens of times, but a bunch of times I've made the red currant wine, and I've never had anything that weird happen with it. But yeah, so I have no idea what it is or what did it, and I think it happened in the bottle.
Well, we've found that this strain from Dr. Paw at Real Brewers Yeast is definitely worth playing with, because the yogurty tart, lactic sour is an